Posted by you/jolly_tooth_7274. Throwaway because my friends and family know my name. When my husband was in his early 20s, he got a girl pregnant. They were casually dating in college and had a lot of mutual friends. He didn't want to be a dad and told her as much, but she was adamant about keeping the baby. He was supportive through the pregnancy but was clear he didn't want to be involved. He wanted to renounce his rights but ended up with an agreement where he still pays child support but doesn't do visitation or have involvement in any parental decisions. The girl is now 12. He hasn't met her nor plans to ever do so. I met him 8 years ago, and we've been married for almost 7. He told me about having a biological child out there very early on. I was, and am, fine with it. It is sad that a child came into the world under those circumstances, but I don't think he was wrong for choosing not to be involved. We now have a 5-year-old son. My husband has always been wonderful to me, that's why I fell in love with him. He was great during the pregnancy and birth and has been doting on our son and me ever since. I think he's a wonderful dad and husband. The problem, 2 of his friends married their college girlfriends, who were /are friends with his biological daughter's mother. On 3 separate occasions, during conversations where I said my husband is a wonderful father, one of them made a snarky and mean comment like, "Yeah," to only one of his children. Over the weekend, we attended one of their kids' birthday parties. I was chatting with another mom about motherhood and mentioned that it's easier when you have a good team player in your spouse. The hostess chimed in loudly, if only the mother of his other child had the same. Later, I confronted her in the kitchen. I said I was very tired of her and the other friends' comments about my husband. I told her she didn't need to invite us to things or spend time with us if she didn't want to, but it was super disrespectful to constantly insult him as a father. She told me she initially liked me but finds it distasteful and rude that I keep praising my husband as a good father when I'm well aware that he isn't. She said she would always make sure to correct me because it's not okay that he got away with what he did and now gets to play happy family with me and our son. The conversation went south from there, and of course, we left. The other mom friend texted me yesterday to say she completely backs up what the hostess said, and that I'm horrible for marrying and having a kid with a deadbeat and, on top of that, praising him as a good dad. I have no doubts about my feelings. My husband has been and is great with our son and with me. I guess I never thought about how my words could be insensitive toward his biological daughter and her mother, whom I've never met, but am I wrong for occasionally saying my husband is a good father when talking to people? Should I stop? Update 1 month later. The verdict on my original post was not the jerk, but people raised concerns about my husband's biological daughter's well-being. I was also advised to cut contact with this woman and to tell my husband, Tim, what they were saying about him. I spoke with Tim after I posted. He decided to speak with his friend John about what his wife, Jane, was doing, and we have decided to cut Jane off. After Tim spoke to John, we learned the truth. It turns out this wasn't about Tim or me at all. I can only share what John authorized me to, even though this is anonymous, he prefers not to go into too much detail. While still in college, John and Jane also had an unplanned pregnancy. John wanted a termination, but Jane didn't. They were still discussing what to do when she had a miscarriage, early stage. They never told anyone because Jane didn't want to, and John respected her wishes. My husband never knew about this and felt terrible for them. While they moved on and eventually got married and had kids, it's obvious Jane isn't over it and harbors resentment toward John for his stance at the time. Since our son was born, it seems she has occasionally been unloading her feelings onto Tim because she feels that's how things would have gone for her if she hadn't miscarried. This is according to John. I haven't spoken to Jane, so I don't know her side. John confronted Jane after Tim spoke to him, and they had a big fight because John didn't like her actions and immediately recognized what was really behind them. John is now staying in our guest house. It's been almost 2 weeks, but we hope they will work through it for the sake of their family. Jane hates us even more now, though, for hosting John, so we're unsure how our friendship will fare if / when they reconcile. The most important part of the update, after fighting with Jane, John contacted Tim's biological daughter's mom, Callie. He told her everything and asked her to stop feeding Jane's irrational feelings because Jane was taking them out on us instead of him, and this was causing problems for Tim. Callie ended up contacting me on social media. This was the absolute first time we've ever interacted in any way, and I freaked out a bit when I saw her first message. She wanted to speak to me mother to mother and clear things up, so I responded, and we started chatting. Tim was informed. She said she wanted me to know that she didn't want anything more from Tim than what they had agreed upon, that she never fed anything to Jane about him, they don't even talk that often, and that she wanted no part of this mess or to be dragged into it. I told her that we already had a feeling she wasn't involved and appreciated her telling me, but really, this situation had nothing to do with her. I also apologized if the drama disturbed her or her daughter. We got to chatting from there, and she's a lovely person. She's married, and her husband, Sal, has been in their daughters, Ellie, life since she was about 2. Ellie calls him dad. They also have a younger daughter together. Callie knew about Tim being married to me and about us having a son because, apparently, Jane had shared those things with her, despite her telling Jane she had no interest in hearing about him. I updated Tim about my chats with Callie the whole time. After some reflection and back and forths, we ended up having a video call with the 4 of us, Tim and me, Callie and Sal, just this past weekend. It was awkward at first, but we talked mostly about Ellie. We saw pictures of her. She's a beautiful girl. The gist of this is that Sal and Callie have wanted him to adopt Ellie officially, but they were honest about how their finances would suffer from losing the child support. Plus, the biggest obstacle was that they didn't want Ellie to lose her college fund/trust fund from Tim, as they would have a very hard time saving for both their daughters in their current situation, especially without the child support. They're not poor or anything but just don't have the means to save that much. Long story short, after this call, it was decided that Tim will renounce paternity, and Sal will adopt Ellie officially. However, Ellie will keep her trust fund/college fund. It will be up to Callie and Sal to decide how and what to disclose to Ellie regarding where the money comes from. So far, Ellie knows her biological father fulfilled his financial responsibility, in other words, of course, so I don't think they'll lie to her about it. This process will take some time to finalize. We've only just started and still need to consider if and when our children want to meet, which is a difficult topic we agreed to continue discussing over time, but we are all happy. Tim says this is how it should have been all along, and Callie and Sal seem thrilled about finally being an official family. There was even a very nice moment when Sal told Tim, "You have a lovely family," and Tim replied, "Thanks, so do you." So, thanks Reddit. If I hadn't posted here, maybe none of this would have happened.